Hey friends, this is Joseph Maher. So what I want to do in this video is I want to talk about finances, but in the vein of being an independent contractor or, starting your own business, being a good business person, and what that requires. Because I think if anything that reason can give you, it can tell you what's required for a certain goal, right? Like, so you want something, well, there's going to be like a price, a systemic price that you're going to have to pay to get that particular thing. And there really is a dichotomy with being not thirsty enough and being too thirsty with regard to making money. This is actually a good kind of stage teal dichotomy, which is too thirsty and not thirsty enough. And what I want to do in this video is I just want to let you guys know that you have to meet the requirements of whatever it is that you're trying to do. So if you want to be an independent contractor, meaning you're somebody who's going out and you're engaging in the gig economy and you're asking people to pay you, right? Not as an employee, but like as a one-off, or, to buy something from you or something. There are people who have the right kind of mindset and actions and people who have the wrong mindset and actions regarding this. And this is where you really need to integrate your blue and your orange, your sage blue and your sage orange. So I'm going to tell you, showing up on time with your work is the number one thing. Like being prompt, fast, efficient, and cheap, ultimately, is what's going to endear you to people who want to pay you. Now, there's actually a dichotomy between being cheap and being expensive. But you can't really demand being expensive until you've mastered being cheap. Even if you're selling something to 1 million people for $8 a month or something like that, that's cheap, but you're leveraging the fact that 1 million people are buying that product from you, right? But you're still meeting this requirement of being on time, doing a really good job for cheap. That's the fundamental principle of being popular as an independent contractor. And some people are really good at this. You hire them to come and do a job for you. They do it exactly when they say they will do it. That day, that morning, for cheaper than you want to pay them. You may be like, I want to give you more. And they're like, nope, I don't want more. You got to give me this. I'm good. I went above and beyond too in the job that I did for you. And I want you to come and see what we did. Now, they may try to upsell you later on, but I'm just saying that like that gives a good first impression. See, like reliability, is so very important. And, you don't want to be the kind of person who's walking around blind without a cane, in the gig economy. I mean, unless you're an employee of somebody, you're in the gig economy. And also, so, before I move on, just to start this off, I want to make a video on what it takes to be good at business and to be good as an independent contractor, and even to be good as an employee as well. Although with an employee, typically you're being more taken care of than an independent contractor. So as an employee, it's not about upselling anybody, because you're not in control of that, right? So, but as an independent contractor, let's say you sell a course and people like your course. Well, you're always thinking as an independent contractor, the people who liked the course that I did before, they're probably going to like the course that I do later. But you have to upsell them, right? You have to make them think that they're going to give you the same kind of deal over and over and over again. You're going to get a lot of value, and they're going to do it for cheap. See? But they're still going to get a lot of value too. That's the perfect kind of sales proposition. If you can sell a lot cheap, you still make a lot of money. But you're doing it making sure that they're getting the value too, right? The person who you're selling it to, they're going to get the value too. Otherwise, they're not going to buy anything. They're not going to buy any more from you. They're going to be hesitant to buy any more from you. So, you want to be thirsty enough as a business owner or as an independent contractor to get up in the morning, do what you say you will do. You got to do what you say you will do. Period. A lot of people are making fun of Trump with his to-do list and how he's getting it done so fast. But see, that's exactly what a lot of stage green people don't have. Like a lot of empaths that are kind of taken advantage of, childish people don't have their head screwed on tight, people like me, who are not on top of their game as much as they should be. It's like you're not showing up on time. You're not really doing a really good job, and you're not really doing it for cheap. Like there's some kind of inconsistency in you. You may have done it once or twice or whatever, but you don't do it on the regular. There are people who do this on the regular. And a lot of independent contractors, they have other contractors that work with them. So when you hire an independent contractor for a job, they're subcontracting with other people. So, they may make a profit just off of the fact that they can bring a team of people to you and solve a problem. They're going to pay them less than what they're going to charge you a little bit more, and then that's their cut, right? So everybody has their cut. So, I think one of the things about being kind of a spoiled brat like me is that you don't understand layers of power. Like if you ever spent time in prison or in jail, which I have not, I'm just saying if you have, then you have a better understanding not everyone is the same or has the same deal with you. So in other words, when you contract with somebody, they may subcontract out other parts of that job. And then they have a deal with those subcontractors. So what you pay the person who you have a deal with may not be what they pay other people. So your business is you and the person who you're contracting with. And then you have to agree to either delegate them, the right to subcontract or to approve any kind of subcontracting relationship. But ultimately, the monetary deal that the person who you're dealing with and the people who they're subcontracting with is between them. Right? Your deal is between you and the person who you're paying, the general contractor. So when you're in the gig economy, this is how things work, and this is why things are done so cheaply. Because we can hire specialists that come in that can do a job much better than any one particular general contractor could do. He knows people who can do other things. And he brings relationships together. But then the deal that you're making with him, right, is between you and him. And then his deal with his subcontractors is between him and them, right? So But one of the things that I do love about this is people who have their shit together. I mean, this can go sideways too. This can get to the point where expenses balloon, right? And somebody doesn't get paid, or somebody's not showing up on time, somebody's not doing a good job. I mean, there can be many ways that this fails. But I think as a great business person, you have excellence in your work, right? I mean, this is not rocket science. It's actually very simple. You do what you say you will do on time. You show up with your best work, and you do a really good job for cheap, relatively speaking, for cheap. You know, even if you're Taylor Swift, like selling her music to kids, that's relatively cheap in terms of the joy that those kids get from listening to her music. And then because she sells so many albums, she's coming in on time, she's doing a really good job, and she's doing it relatively for cheap. But because she's selling so many units, she makes a shit ton of money. See? And I do want to talk about this issue of doing a lot for a little and doing a little for a lot. That's actually a paradox. Okay. So what I want to do, we're a third of the way through the video. What I want to do is I want to come back and I want to talk about that paradox and integrating that paradox. So just give me 1 second. All right, friends. So let's examine the paradox, doing a lot for a little and doing a little for a lot. This is important to get right when it comes to finances. Doing a lot for a little is very generous of you. You're placing the value in your customer or in your client. Like if you're kind of like, I don't care about getting paid. You do a lot of pro bono stuff. You give like a ridiculous deal to anybody like you're too nice, right? You're too nice. But maybe there's a reason why you're so nice, because you're not really that good at what you do too. So you're compensating for that, or you're making excuses for the fact that you're not so good at what you do. And so you're like, okay, don't pay me, discount, you discount yourself. You don't want to be that way. That's why it's important to come in on time, do a really good job for a value for your customer. You got to have those like stage blue, stage orange values kind of nailed down. Otherwise, if you're too much of an empath, you can be taken advantage of, and you'll take advantage of yourself in a way too. You'll be like, don't bill me, don't charge me, you're just too nice, right? You don't have a business mind. But I think the most important systemic thing in having a business mind isn't being like ruthless or greedy. It's simple. It's like coming in on time, doing a really good job for a value for your customer, for your client. I mean, that's it. So if you can master those, you don't have to be an asshole, but you have to be on your shit. You have to wake up on time. You have to do what you say you will do. And people are going to be so impressed with you that they're actually going to want to pay you more. You're going to be able to upsell them without having to try to upsell them. They're going to be like, man, this guy is going to be able to do all these things that are on my to-do list, in his specific audience capture, right? We'll talk about audience capture too in this video. Which I was actually watching a Club Random interview with Bill Maher and Sam Harris. I recommend you guys actually watch that. It's interesting. I didn't realize that Sam Harris is so kind of conservative in certain ways. He's hilarious, though. There's no question about it. I mean, he's like kind of low-key funny, but he'll get you to laugh out loud, too. He's clever, man. He's really clever, but I didn't realize, him and Bill Maher, they really have this kind of right-wing side to them, which I find to be, in a sense, kind of trying to do their own kind of version of audience capture. But anyway, according to this video, Sam Harris talks about how audience capture is actually a term that originated with Brett Weinstein. And what audience capture is when you're an influencer, or you're somebody who's making YouTube videos, or somebody who's engaging in marketing, and you realize that all of a sudden, like, you hook a big fish, right? You tap into something, and all of a sudden you're getting all these like hits and all these views, and then you start feeding that, right? That's audience capture. What you're doing is you're trying to milk that. Like, you got a hit, you had your fishing line out there, you got a big fish on your line, and now you're trying to like get more of the same kind of thing. Like, you learned what, your audience likes to hear and wants to hear. And so that's an element of marketing. Like, if your job happens to involve marketing, which I think as a business owner and as an independent contractor, you do need to have some understanding of marketing. I mean, people have to hear about you to be able to hire you. You're not just getting work from an employer. It's like when you have a sales job. If you guys have ever worked in sales, initially they're going to try to see whether or not you can bring in any new customers. But eventually, like, if you show that you can bring in a client or two, then they'll start giving you clients, right? So there'll be like this give and take between you bringing in business and them giving business to you. But if you can't show that you can bring in business on your own, they're really not going to carry you. So that's the test. And like a salesman or a marketer is, can you bring in new people, new customers, new potential clients? And that's a certain kind of personality trait, a certain kind of strength, actually. It's not a personality. Yeah, it is a personality trait, but it's something that you can develop. Like, you can get better at marketing. You can get better at, doing a really good job for somebody. And then by word of mouth, they recommend you to somebody else. But notice that all of this involves, again, coming in on time, doing a really good job for a value for somebody where they're almost like blown away by the discrepancy in what they paid you and the value they got. Or at the very minimum, they realize that it was a fair deal. What they don't want to feel like is that you did not come in on time, you did not do a really good job, and now you're hitting me with this huge bill, right? People aren't going to want to pay you. See, you're better off being an employee in that sense. Like, you need to be taken care of. And you're walking around blind without a cane. Like, you're just not, you're not ready for prime time. You're not really fitting the system that you want to, you're not embodying the system that you need to embody to be able to perform that role and to get the benefits that role would require. So, don't fool yourself. Like, not everybody is cut out to be an independent contractor or to be a business owner. It's hard because it's all on you. You have to be the boss. You have to be stage orange. You have to be somewhat like Donald Trump, right? Or Elon Musk. You have to be the alpha. I mean, people hate that word, right? So I was reading some article about how when Elon Musk got with Grimes at their wedding reception, they were having a dance, and he whispered to her, "I'm the alpha." You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's That's kind of crazy, right? A little bit, but you could see how somebody like that, when you're a business owner, you have to call the shot. You have to be the shot caller for your life, right? So, and sometimes this can be just taken way too far and go way too wrong, like Stage Orange, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. We can see how people they're really strong in this kind of thing. You don't have to be that strong, right? You can be Taylor Swift. You could be Kim Kardashian. You could be Bill Maher, who has his own HBO. HBO. He's an employee of HBO, actually, so he's not entirely an independent contractor. Whereas Sam Harris is. You guys should watch that interview with Bill Maher and Sam Harris. It's actually really interesting. Because it's an example of Bill Maher. Yeah, he has his own independent projects, but he's also an employee of HBO. Whereas Sam Harris is entirely an independent contractor. More like the gig economy, like the more modern economy. So, like, Bill Maher is like 70, Sam Harris is like 57 or something like that. So you can see the difference between generations here, how nowadays it's actually really difficult to, people used to talk about a pensioner, somebody who has a pension, somebody who has Social Security. There's no security now, right, in the gig economy. It's like everybody's on their own. Everybody's an independent contractor. You might be an employee. If you're an employee, count your blessings. If you work for the government, count your blessings. There's a lot of us out there now that are in this kind of virtual, online gig economy. It's not like 20 years ago or 10 years ago or even 15 years ago where you would get a job in a company and you go work in an office. It's like everybody's working from home now, right? It's like everybody's an independent contractor. And you have to buy your own health insurance. You have to pay your own taxes. You have to buy your own insurance, all that kind of stuff. So you're not going to get any kind of pension or Social Security or anything like that, right? So this is a different financial reality than the financial reality of 50 years ago. When people are being taken care of by big companies coming after World War II. We had all the money because we were rebuilding Europe at that time. Man, now it's dialed way back in terms of the benefits. The only benefits you're going to get is through your own ingenuity, through your own this is why I think life purpose work is so important. But see, not only do you need to find your life purpose, that's step one. Step two is you got to do that career change. See, that's the part of it. I like Leo's life purpose course. I really do. But I think the second half of that course, right, is still pending. And, I don't know whether it's he's going to make it or somebody else is going to make it. But it's that once you find your life purpose, you have to come in on time, do a really good job for cheap, and find a customer who's willing to pay you, right? It's not enough just to have a life purpose. I mean, that's square one. Yeah, that's great. But you have to step up to the plate and be that entrepreneur. You can't just be the lazy guy who's sitting around don't get too thirsty, making their money off of just marketing on their videos on YouTube or something like that. It's all right, but see, not everybody is going to be able to not everybody has that gift for gab to be a great YouTuber and they can just make a living off of YouTube advertising, right? I mean, that's just one way to come in on time, do a really good job for cheap. That's your strategy for doing that. But that's gonna work for maybe 1% of the population because not everybody has those kinds of speaking skills. that kind of, not everybody has that kind of articulation. I mean, look at Barack Obama, right? Not everybody can speak like Barack Obama. So like step one is to find your life purpose, but step two has to be figuring out how to get a customer who's willing to pay you a living wage for doing a job that embodies your life purpose. That's the missing link. Like, that's what nobody knows how to talk. I mean, somebody like Elon Musk or Donald Trump or Tony Robbins or somebody like that would probably be the best kind of person to teach this to you. It's not, it's like blue orange. Okay, friends, so I'm going to take a final break. I'll come back and we'll do the conclusion. So just give me 1 second. All right, friends, so let me do the conclusion. So I'm having this insight that the secret to financial health is to do a lot for a little and a little for a lot, paradoxically. So doing a lot for a little, that's where you're giving your value to your customer, your client. They feel like they're getting a value. Like when somebody goes to a Metallica concert or a Taylor Swift concert, whatever it may be, or a movie, you go to a movie, you spend $15 to go watch a movie, you feel like you're getting a lot for a little, especially some of the movies that are out now, right? But paradoxically, as somebody who wants to be a master at finances, you also want to get a lot for a little. And I think one of the key ways to meet this element is through investing, sound investing, where you get a lot for a little. So what you do, this is the way I think systemically the best way that it should work, is that you do a lot for a little for your clients, assuming that you're doing a good job and they feel like they're getting a value and they want to pay you more than what they're paying you, because you're going to be able to upsell them for free. They're going to give you more work whether you want it or not. You may have to hire other people, but also you want to get a lot for a little. So once you get that profit, right, you invest that and you make lots of money just off of investing that. You give it to somebody else to invest. Now, there's a downside there where you could, never get into gambling. Don't get into gambling. I've heard people, they've made some money in Bitcoin, something like that. No, like hire a financial advisor who knows what they're doing to manage your money for you. Right? Don't play games like that. There's very conservative ways to grow your money through bonds, CDs, very conservative stocks. Don't be somebody who's trying to make who's gambling. Don't become a gambler. Right? Don't never become a gambler. Right? Gamblers, if it's a one-off thing, I can see that. But if it becomes a habit, like you always end up losing way more than you win. Right? So I think the key is to align your life purpose in such a way where you're giving a lot for a little, but the fact that your customer, your client is getting a value, they're going to bring more business toward you. And then you're giving a little for a lot in the sense that everything you make, you invest it in a way where that capital is also making money for you too on the back end. So I think that these are the fundamentals, I think, of being good at business. And like I said, it's not enough just to know your life purpose. You also need to teach people the business side of things, the requirements for being good at business, showing up on time, doing highest quality work, and giving value to whoever's paying you. And Also, like teaching people how to start a business too. Like not everybody knows that. Like I said, the practical side is missing. See, so that's why I wanted to make this video. So maybe we'll title this video "An Introduction to Business." Okay, friends. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.